Today we're going Godzilla on Fani Willis. Fani Willis is America's favorite legal car wreck. What trouble? We got brand new news. She's so sloppy that she committed a felony in recording someone without their permission. Nathan Wade catch up. He's in trouble with his wife in court. And we're going to do a little catch up on our buddy Harrison Floyd too. This is going to be a great episode, so I'm really excited to show this to you. Welcome to Doug in Exile. I'm Doug TenNapel. I'm in exile. It just means I'm not home yet. Okay, I got kicked out of Hollywood. Now we're here on YouTube doing the news. So let's go.
Is this case still on trial to start before the election?
It very well might start before the election. I don't think the case is at all going to end before the election. The American public will not have a verdict, even according to Fani Willis's most optimistic preview of her own schedule.
So Fani Willis's case so far is scheduled for August. It'll start there. Remember, Trump is right now in the Stormy Daniels thing, starts in this month. So that'll book him through. They say that could take at least 6 weeks, but it'll take longer than that. It'll be 2 months to seat a jury. How do you get a fair jury in New York? Good luck with that, guys. And Merchant is, of course, totally compromised. But having these court cases, this one could end up, Fani Willis's, if it starts in August, it would go right up to the election. They're not going to resolve that thing. Trump's going to be sitting there in court. Remember, the New York one is a criminal court, so he has to show up to that one. And instead of campaigning, his message and his brand is, I'm in court. And so far in the polls, it's shown he wins because of it, because America hates what's being done to him, even if they hate Donald Trump.
But what Donald Trump has proved a master of in these numerous trials is that he is going to use the legal system and take it as far as he can. And he's got the resources to do it. The average citizen wouldn't be able to delay the way that he has, but because he has the resources, he can do it.
That's Elisa Farah Griffin of The View, who has a terrible legal opinion saying Trump has the resources to do all these delays because he's not an average citizen. But what average citizen gets targeted like him, taken off the presidential ballot, removed from states, having 5 bogus, especially the Stormy Daniels one, totally bogus, made up indictment. Fani Willis inventing RICO charges like they've never been used before. It's fair. What Trump is doing is fair. You use every resource you have to fight the Leviathan state. And like Harrison Floyd said, we don't give up down to the last man. Now, here's the great Phil Holloway. He's got a great YouTube channel. I hope you guys will look for it. He's doing Inside the Law. What a killer show.
Former paramour, Fani Willis, Nathan Wade, has been accused by his wife, because he is not yet divorced, his wife in the pending divorce case. He's been accused of essentially failing to honor his agreement.
We have a word for that, failing to honor your agreement. It's called being a deadbeat husband and a deadbeat dad. That's the new theme of this episode. Nathan Wade, deadbeat dad.
The temporary order covers things like financial obligations, whether or not people have to pay medical bills or other types of support. And the remedy, if the other side doesn't live up to their end of the bargain, so to speak, is you have to ask the judge to enforce the order. And that's called a motion or an application for contempt.
Nathan Wade's getting an application of contempt slapped against him by she's still his wife, but she's, an ex. They're in divorce proceedings because she's having some kind of a colon procedure. It's medically affecting her. She's losing weight. She can't keep a job. He already has a deal with her that he's supposed to pay for her medical bills. And we know he's flush with cash.
We have a defendant's application for contempt.
So he already agreed to pay this. She asked him for the money. He's not even supposed to pay her. He pays the office directly.
Plaintiff will pay, that's Nathan Wade, he will pay all uncovered medical expenses for his wife, apart from any elective cosmetic procedures until further order of the court. Plaintiff, that's Wade, will additionally pay routine dental and vision care with a cap.
And he went to her and said, you pay it and I'll reimburse you. How trustworthy is your word when you broke a marriage vow?
Plaintiff informed the party's daughter, an upperclassman in college, with hopes of entering medical school in the near future, that he would discontinue payment of her rent and her living expenses, instructing her to get the money from your mother. Wow.
That's Nathan Wade's daughter ready to go. She's in upper division already. She's ready to go to med school. And he said he wouldn't pay her bills. He's cutting her off. That's the kind of guy. I just want to say this is how it actually plays out. When Fani Willis claims to be a public servant, and I'm going to help the inner city. We already saw what she did to Amanda Timpson, misspending her grant money that's supposed to go to troubled inner city, predominantly Black youth. And they're spending it on Apple computers, stuff that is illegal by the grant's own provision not to spend it on. But this goes into the whole mindset of how much can you help Nathan Wade? Nathan Wade, how are you helping the inner city when your own family needs your help? Your daughter, you could put this young Black lady in med school and you cut her off and say, get your money from your mother. So now you're trying to weaponize the family against your ex and punish her.
Party's son is currently in Europe pursuing a career as a soccer player, a pro soccer player. Despite the plaintiff executing a verified affidavit to the country of Spain, affirming a financial responsibility for his son's expenses for visa purposes, he subsequently informed his son, after the temporary order was entered, that he would no longer be providing support for him either, directing the son to get the money from your mother.
So there's Nathan Wade's son now going to be a professional soccer player in Europe. He needed help with some visa stuff, a little money here. Nathan Wade cuts him off. And again, I'm not too much into that business of when you cut an adult person off. It's more, he goes, get the money from your mother, is what he said, told both his kids. That's the kind of man he is. Oh, and remember, this is before Nathan Wade got stepped down from his job. So he was currently making $670,000 a year, and then he cuts off his kids. So this is before he stepped out of that job. And he said, go ask your mother. And now this is Harrison Floyd's lawyer stepping up to bat here, and he cracks me up.
Yeah, and this is before he was even out of the case. I mean, he's still making money at this point.
$250 an hour. Right. Yeah. And that's just on, and look, he's
by the way,
just on the case.
So Phil Holloway goes, in case you didn't hear it, he goes, by the way, he's charging $250 an hour. And Chris goes, yeah, and he's billing 24 hours a day. Now, I'm no Stephen Hawking philosopher of time, but I don't think it's possible to bill for more than 24 hours in a day, given the nature of time. Nathan Wade has maxed out even the laws of physics.
Plaintiff's sudden cessation of support for the party's children has placed the defendant in a dire financial situation, resulting in a monthly income of less than $1,000. Additionally, defendant cannot work due to her poor health. As a consequence, she finds herself in a worse financial condition than she was prior to the entry of the consent order.
So Nathan Wade's wife, she's living on, that's $12,000 a year, well below the poverty level, all because of him. He wouldn't pay the bills, so she had to take her alimony payment that he paid her, and she had to cover her kids' basic needs. What a dad.
Harrison is one of the defendants in this case.
Here's what we know so far.
And what a great time we had with him yesterday. We got a third episode is coming out later today.
147,000 mail-in ballots were counted, but the county did not do any signature verification. So those ballots should not have counted, and that violates state law.
The only Georgia Trump co-defendant to spend time at the jail received a $100,000 bond, but he's going to stay in jail at least for another night.
So at this hour, supporters of Harrison Floyd have started collecting donations online, referring to him as a political prisoner. They have now raised almost $300,000 to pay for his bond and his legal fees.
We've been trying to raise money for him. Link in the description where you can help pay his legal fees. And so we want to be part of that. We want to help this guy out.
His lawyer, Chris Kacharoff, is with us, and he's going to tell us more about his appeal and what's going on.
Okay, so that's Chris Kacharoff. That is Harrison Floyd's lawyer. Now, here's some of the back data on what happened with Harrison Floyd, and it involves Ruby Freeman and the elections and all that.
Floyd is the former director of Black Voices for Trump. In Fulton County, he's facing charges related to the alleged harassment of county elections worker Ruby Freeman after Georgia's 2020 presidential election. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis' spokesperson said Floyd never worked out a consent bond like the other defendants, that is before turning himself in.
He got stuck in the bed bug infested hellhole known as the Fulton County Jail.
His family was getting repeated harassment from Fulton County, demanding to know where he was and what he was doing. And they said they knew what kind of person he was. Now, for your viewers, there's another parallel case going on in Maryland. It's a federal case now. It had been a state case, but two FBI agents who worked for the Jack Smith, they were trying to serve a subpoena on him and didn't identify themselves. And there's an allegation that Harrison engaged in an altercation with them. It's not true, and the facts are, that case is pretty interesting in and of itself.
And
he was denied bond in Fulton, Fulton County. A magistrate down there who said he was a flight risk. Now get this, the guy turns himself in voluntarily, and he's a flight risk.
FBI agents show up on my doorstep.
So Jack Smith sent 2 goons out to Harrison Floyd to serve him papers. That's it. But the papers didn't match up according to Harrison Floyd. They didn't look right. The whole thing was botched. What a clown show all these people are, from Jack Smith to Fani Willis to Nathan Wade. Guys, this is the B team. This is the D team.
He was holding his 2-year-old daughter. He was walking upstairs to his apartment, had to get through a secured door with a gate key. He swipes the gate key, and these 2 individuals follow him in and telling him they want to talk to him. And he said, I'm not interested in talking to you. I don't know who you people are. And they said, well, we want to discuss some stuff with you. And he kept walking up. He said, there's 2 white guys, Chris. I don't know who they are. I got my 2-year-old daughter, and they're following me. And so he starts to go up the stairs, and he said he felt like that they were pulling on him or tugging on him. And he didn't fight. He just literally shoved off and went upstairs to his room or his house and put his daughter in. And as he opened the door, these 2 people threw paperwork in the door and said, you're served. And it turned out to be a subpoena for Jack Smith.
I don't know what that is. I'm not touching it. I'm not picking it up. That's one. Sorry. Things happen. I end up getting arrested.
Well, listen. I am a detective in Montgomery County. Here's my badge. These guys are officers of Rockville City, and this is an FBI agent. I do have an arrest warrant for you right now. Okay.
When you look at the subpoena, it doesn't look like a real subpoena. It's pretty apparent that their job was to come and try to cultivate a situation where there was a reaction.
Yeah.
8 hours later, the local police department comes to his apartment with several other officers, and they arrest him. And the charge is battery on a police officer. Now,
the local police did that?
The local police did that for the FBI agents who never made the report. Harrison is the one that called. And so what ends up happening is the day before the hearing in state court, it gets dismissed, and the federal court, the Federal Department of Justice picks it up and indicts him on a federal charge. I think it's bogus. I think it's a triable case.
It's a triable case. But where's all the civil rights leaders coming out for Harrison Floyd? Huh? What? You can't hear anything. No funding, no help. Sorry, Harrison Floyd, you're in the wrong party. The party that is in bed 1-for-1 with this state, with this corrupt, politicized. They're using law that's supposed to be neutral. They're using it just to win one party's election this fall, guys. You've got to vote Republican. You cannot vote Democrat. And I mean, not even for dog catcher. Don't scratch a box next to a Democrat.
Obviously, a little bit of political pressure mounted because Fani was going after him. And she, I guess, felt the heat and sent a couple of her minions over there. And they asked him if he wanted a bond. He said he did. And they said, sign here. And he said, can I have my lawyer look at this? And they abruptly turned and walked away. By the way, Fani did reach out to us, my colleague, one of my colleagues in Maryland, and was rude and abrupt with him on the phone. And he was dealing with the Maryland case. I was dealing with the Georgia case. And she ended up recording him. You know, Maryland is a two-party state. Both parties have to consent. I'm sorry.
So are you saying that she illegally recorded a phone call?
Oh, yeah. It's a felony in Maryland.
Here's Newsweek. Fani Willis hit with a new accusation. We like new accusations because this is the gift that keeps on giving. You know, because Fani Willis, you can't just be corrupt or unprofessional in one way. From the time she took the stand, you go, holy moly, this is a car wreck of humanity. Her whole past, the more you hear about office workers in her office, how she treats Harrison Floyd, how she deals with the FBI, even how she interacts with Jack Smith with all these flights up to Washington or her Caribbean cruise. This is unprofessional, absolute grift. The more they dig on this woman, you know, if she's been working for 2 to 4 years, they're going to find even more. This is yet another front. They can get Fani Willis for a felony. That can also get her disbarred, once again, canceled from the case. If justice is still alive, that's still, the jury's still out on that one. And something tells me the jury selection process won't be fair either. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis may have avoided disqualification from the Trump case, but that decision has done little to put the conservative attacks against her to rest. The conservatives are attacking me. No, you left a gaping hole open that you could drive a truck of righteousness through. This is your corruption. It's not because Republicans are attack happy. Willis is facing a new allegation that she allegedly recorded a call between her and one of the defense lawyers in the case, which we already know her to be strange and paranoid. And this is illegal. This is not how you treat a lawyer of the other side. There has to be a moniker. They have to at least pretend to be professional, guys, to the opposition. In a Tuesday interview with legal analyst Phil Holloway, that's the show that we just now showed you. You guys got to check out. In fact, I'll put the link to that down in the description. It is a giant, meaty show. You'll learn a lot. I just can't, take it all for this show. Go over there and watch him and give him a sub. He's doing great work, Phil Holloway. Attorney Christopher Kacharoff, that's Harrison Floyd's lawyer, on the show, who is representing Trump co-defendant Harrison Floyd, alleged that Willis recorded a phone call between her and one of Kacharoff's Maryland-based colleagues without their knowledge. Oh, that's a problem in Maryland when you need two parties agreeing to a recording to happen. And then here's, they're talking about Harrison Floyd on Twitter, responding to his attorney's new claims about Willis. Floyd wrote on X, formerly Twitter, quote, Fani Willis illegally recorded a call with my lawyer. It's a felony. She is a DEI, diversity. She is a DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion thug with a law license. Will anyone in Georgia stand up to her? That's a message to McAfee and probably Kemp, because the men over there, the weak conservative men in Georgia, just to survive, they've had to play it soft. They can't. We have to give them strength, encourage them to do what's right. We don't try and tear them down. Try to encourage them to do something right for Harrison Floyd and against Fani Willis. Here's the empty head to wrap us up.
He's pushed the limit on what he's saying. And listen, Fani Willis has hardly covered herself in glory in this, but I would have a hard time arguing that anything she has said is anything near the attacks that she's faced by him and his supporters.
Poor Fani Willis facing attacks. What is this? Is this show an attack on her? How's that worse than the attack that she did on Trump, that she did on recording an opposing lawyer, that she does when she waves her hand around in court and nearly intimidates poor, soft Judge McAfee? Where's the justice? America's watching Fulton County, Georgia, and I'm in shock. And Fulton County has to start doing something against Fani Willis to reform yourself. It's time for a reformation, people. Get out the John Calvin of the legal system and someone address Fani Willis for the rest of us Americans who are terrified of ever going to court. You're not going to get justice. This is crazy. I'm Doug in Exile.